Okay. I would like to start off by saying that I honestly don't believe I am good enough to do a tutorial, but two of my good high school buddies that I don't see anymore really they're beyond my ability to see, seeing as they have moved elsewhere. They wanted me to do this, so this is my animation tutorial. I am going to start off by saying that this is not the one and only way to animate. This is how I animate. And I animate on a Windows computer, so a PC. You may have better luck in on a Mac, but I don't have a Mac. Macs are expensive. Anyway, let's start off with my saying that I animate with Photoshop. Oh man, Photoshop. You can use paper. Let me start off by saying that if you have a Windows PC, it's best if you have another video editing program other than Windows Movie Maker. All my first animations were made on paper and put through Windows Movie Maker, and they all ended up real choppy. I mean, my animations are still choppy, but not so much. And you can't. You really want a program with more. You want to be able to have more than one video and audio slot, because we will be using a lot of PNG images. Let's start. Actually, let's start with this one. Oh, no, not that one. Yes, that one. And do forgive me, I'm a very terrible speaker, so I will be trying to edit, and putting some music to this as well to make it a little more bearable. Anyway, as you also might have noticed, I don't have the full Photoshop program. I have Elements. It's a lot cheaper. This, if you could not tell, this was one of the original. It was originally a drawing. And here, let's go back and show you. You can barely see that. It was a pencil drawing. And to have cleaner edges, you might want to ink it in. I'm so lazy, I don't ink my stuff in before putting it in the computer. Usually now, the only times I ink stuff in is when I'm coloring with Copics. Anyway, this actually happens to be 1, 2... Wait a minute. Oh, here we go. One layer for the line art, and the face is animated separately. Let me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let me start by telling you that this was the original picture. In order to animate this guy to where this is the very last picture, I duplicated this layer and erased his eye and mouth. And from there, I animated, whoops, frame by painful frame. This was what, 7, 8 pictures to get him to smile like that. Man, talking like this is harder than I thought. If you put them all together, it'll look like... Whoa, no, that's not all of them. If you put all of the pictures together, it'll look like that. Anyway. Oops. I had a pre-existing set end animation so that I could animate him smiling frame by painful frame. And that is not the final frame. That's next to the final. It looks very similar to the final frame, but it's not. Final frame is right here. The most sinister looking. Anyway, after that, you color it all. And usually, a lot of times, this is just animating very simple animation for paper, for paperwork. I am terrible at this. By the way, I also put a separate layer for the glowing of his eye on top of the original line work. Speaking of which, where is that? Oh, here it is. And because his face is animated, I put the eye and the mouth, the coloring of the eye and the mouth on a separate layer. So all of this is actually on separate layers. However, when you export it, it'll all be one layer. And just so you know, the way I do it, whoops, not this layer in particular, this background, we want to have a clear background. You know, you see these little spots, like it's like a checkerboard here. We want to keep that. That means there's no background layer at all. But when you go to save it, you save each frame as a PNG image. And when you've finished exporting all of those frames, you take it to a video editing program. You can use Adobe Premiere Elements or Sony Vegas 9. I'm using Sony Vegas Pro 9, but you can use any of the Vegas software. And the best way to do this, because it is expensive, you can download the tutorial. You can download the trial version because it's so expensive. You can download the trial version and when the trial is over, uninstall it, delete it, and download it again. That's the easiest way. Or you can pirate it. I'm very hesitant to use that word. Let's not use that word. Let me show you. Oh, I don't have it in here anymore. I am terrible at this. Alright. I actually had to go through and get some more, make 2 more frames so that he could blink, because the animation in question is a bit, well, it moved a bit slowly, and him just sitting there looking at you without blinking was just kind of boring, so I added a blink. I'm not going to worry about that this time. Anyway, here you have... in order to make the animation nice and smooth, if you just leave the pictures as they are on this screen, watch what happens. That's not very smooth, is it? You want to get the pictures down to a nice small size. And they're going to end up being a lot smaller than this, by the way. I just want to show you. How the smaller the size, the less choppy it will be. 'Cause it'll go by faster, and it'll be much smoother. Let me also say that these pictures were 4x3, and the animation was 16:9. And in Sony Vegas, how to make sure that doesn't look like 16:9. It cuts off a lot of the picture, but we're only really looking at the head. You match the output aspect. Output aspect, yes. And it'll cut it for you so that it doesn't look all chopped off. You did that was an accident. So let's see what this looks like. This goes by a little faster than the other one, but it's still pretty choppy. And when you put it through Windows Movie Maker, it will look choppy like this.